Hello, and welcome back to the Crime Reel. For today's true crime narration, we shall be looking at the unusual story of Wanda Holloway and Verna Heath. Wanda Webb Holloway was born in 1954. Her father was a deeply religious and conservative man who worked at a nearby concrete plant. Wanda's mother worked in the cafe at the local high school. Wanda grew up in Channelview, Texas. She was driven and determined to achieve her best in life. She was an excellent pianist who worked hard at school and achieved good grades. She was desperate to become a cheerleader, but her father forbade this, believing that the cheerleading outfits were far too revealing. In 1972, at the age of 18, Wanda married a man by the name of Tony Harper. Soon after, she fell pregnant with their first child, a boy who they named Anthony Shane. Wanda settled into her role as a wife and mother, and the couple went on to have a daughter in 1977 who they called Shanna. 3 years later, Wanda and Tony's marriage ended in divorce. After a short, unsuccessful marriage to an older, wealthy man, Wanda and Tony tried to reconcile, but without success. Wanda later married a man by the name of C.D. Holloway. He was 20 years her senior, and the couple seemed to be very happy together. He was quite a wealthy man, and Wanda enjoyed the prestige which came with this wealth. Wanda was always immaculately dressed and impeccably polite, but was viewed by some as being a little too up herself. Less than a minute's walk from where Wanda lived, in a near identical house with the same floor plan, lived a lady by the name of Verna Heath. Verna was a year older than Wanda and had also grown up in the area. She had a happy childhood with her 3 sisters. Verna enjoyed twirling and won many competitions for this in her youth. She was married to Jack Heath, a local shop manager, and they had 4 children together, 3 sons and a daughter. Their daughter, Amber, was born in 1977. Wanda and Verna met when their daughters became friends in elementary school. They mixed in the same circles and would sometimes share lifts or grab the occasional coffee, but never really became close friends. Their daughters, Shanna and Amber, grew into popular, friendly and intelligent teens. They both went on to Alice Johnson Junior High School and Alpha Gymnastics in Pasadena. The lessons at this gymnastics club were not cheap, and many of the parents would have to make other sacrifices in order to pay for their child's time there. Having never been allowed to be a cheerleader herself, Wanda was determined to become a cheerleader's mum. Even when Shanna was just a toddler, Wanda had plans for her to be a cheerleader one day. Verna's daughter Amber had been winning twirling contests since the age of 3 and was also a keen cheerleader. Both Wanda and Verna had a reputation of going all out for their daughters. When the 2 girls were in 7th grade, they both tried out for the cheerleading squad. At Alice Johnson High School, cheerleaders were voted for by their peers, and so this became something of a popularity contest. Amber campaigned for her position on the squad by handing out flyers with sweets attached. Wanda was furious that this was allowed and complained to the school, as well as actively encouraging others not to vote for Amber. Amber made the team. Shanna did not. Taking note of Wanda's complaints, the school later changed the rules on campaigning. The following year, Wanda was determined that history would not repeat itself. She would make sure that her daughter made the cheerleading team. Wanda spoke to her ex-husband Tony, explaining that they needed to do something to guarantee Shanna's place on the squad. They came up with the idea of handing out rulers and pencils to fellow students with the words, "Vote for Shanna," printed on them. They started to distribute these, but because of the change to the rules following Wanda's complaint about Verna the previous year, Shanna was disqualified from the competition for giving these items out. Shanna's final chance to make the team would be in March 1991. Throughout 1990, Wanda became increasingly fixated on Verna and Amber. Wanda believed that Amber had stolen Shanna's place. Towards the end of 1990, Wanda came up with a plan to guarantee Shana's success the following year. Wanda needed to get rid of the competition. She spoke to the only person that she knew with a criminal past, her ex-husband's brother, Terry Harper. Wanda met with Terry, asking him how much he loved his niece and nephew, and then proceeded to tell him her plan to make Shana happy. Wanda had decided that she wanted to hire someone to get rid of Verna and her daughter Amber. Terry was shocked and couldn't believe she was serious. He said that he did not want to be involved in anything like this. He didn't hear from Wanda again for a while and thought the matter had been dropped. However, on Christmas Eve 1990, Wanda again contacted Terry to ask him to meet with her and discuss her plan. Over the following few weeks, Wanda and Terry met several times. They debated at length whether Verna and Amber should be injured or killed. Wanda stated that she didn't care what happened as long as she didn't see Verna in channel view ever again. When Terry came back to Wanda with a price for the hit, $2,500 for Verna and $5,000 for Amber, Wanda said that she simply couldn't afford it. After further discussion, Wanda decided it was Verna who had caused her the most pain, so decided that they would just target her, believing that Amber would be so devastated by her mother's death she would be unable to compete, leaving an opening for Shana on the cheer team. At Wanda and Terry's final meeting on 29th of January 1991, Wanda gave Terry her diamond earrings worth around $1,500 as a down payment for the hit. She was laughing as she did so. The following day, 30th of January 1991, 37-year-old Wanda was at home with Shana, who was practicing her cheerleading routines when there was a knock at the front door. When the immaculately dressed Wanda opened the door and saw two police officers, she displayed no emotion whatsoever. She invited them in, removed her jewellery, and told Shana she would be going away for a while. Unknown to Wanda at the time, after her discussion with Terry on 24th of December, Terry had told his brother, Wanda's ex-husband, what had happened. The two men decided to let the authorities at Harris County Sheriff's Department know what Wanda was planning. Despite the authorities' initial reservations of taking the case seriously, they assisted Terry with setting up a wire so that he could record any future conversations. As meetings between Terry and Wanda progressed, it became clear that Wanda was completely serious in following through with this plan. Wanda was charged with the solicitation of capital murder and was released on 31st of January on a $10,000 bond. Whilst awaiting the trial, Tony sued for custody of the couple's two children and he was awarded joint custody. Daily life continued for all those involved. Shana and Amber still attended the same school. In March 1991, Amber again became a member of the cheerleading squad. Shana did not try out. Despite other students being quoted in the press at the time as not letting it affect their friendships with either Amber or Shana, Shana has later been quoted as saying that she grew up feeling that she had a neon sign over her head and the whole experience had been incredibly traumatic for her. Wanda's case went to trial on August 23, 1991. The prosecution case centred around the tapes and testimony of Terry Harper. Witnesses were also called from Shana's high school who testified that Wanda had taken her daughter's rejections from the cheerleading squad incredibly badly. The defence countered this by stating that Tony had conspired with his brother Terry to frame his ex-wife and therefore win custody of the two children, a fact that was disputed because in the previous 11 years he had made no attempt to legally alter his visitation rights. The case lasted 2 weeks and the jury deliberated for around 6 hours. On 3rd of September 1991, Wanda was found guilty of solicitation of capital murder. As the verdict was read out, Wanda burst into tears. At the sentencing, she begged for a non-custodial sentence, stating that she felt that the trial had been punishment enough. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Her defence team immediately said that they would appeal the decision, and as such, she was released on the 5th of September on a $75,000 bond pending the appeal. It was subsequently discovered that one of the jurors at Wanda's trial was on probation at the time of the trial and should never have been allowed to serve on the jury. Due to this, a mistrial was declared and Wanda was granted a new trial. The new trial date was eventually set for the 7th of October 1996, almost 5 years later. A month before the start of this second trial, Wanda pleaded no contest. Whilst this does not admit any guilt, it immediately has the same effect as a guilty plea and is often used as part of a plea deal. The deal agreed sentenced Wanda to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. However, she would be eligible for probation after 6 months. Wanda was taken into custody immediately. The Heath family said that they felt that Wanda had never shown any remorse for her crime and that her only regret was being caught. They filed a civil suit against Wanda, which was settled for a sum of $150,000. On 28th of February 1997, after serving just 6 months of her 10-year sentence, Wanda was released from prison. That concludes today's story. Please remember to add any comments down below. I'll be interested in reading them. And now it's time for petty crime. Marina has sent in her cat. This is Rosemary, or Rosie for short. She's one of 4 cats in the family and also have a variety of pet snails. Rosie was rescued from a feral colony as a youngster and she is missing an eye and has a dodgy leg too. Marina reckons she's one of the craziest cats she's ever owned. She really is a character and likes to jump up to the ceiling fan but invariably misses, which I guess is lucky in a way. She also loves string, as this video will now prove to you. Thanks, Marina. Next up we have Mark Cole. He sent in a picture of his girlfriend Mariam's dog, Precious. Precious is adorable and cute, but I've been told she has the heart of a wild lion. That's the end of this week's crime reel, everyone. I didn't tell you the whole truth, guys. It gives me great pleasure to announce that Mark Cole and Mariam Hernandez got engaged to one another on the 15th of August. Congratulations, you guys. I'll be getting my Sunday best and my hat ready for the wedding, obviously. No, seriously, it's fantastic news, you two. Congratulations. Thanks very much for listening to the crime reel. Stay safe. Goodbye. Psst. In 1993, there's a HBO comedy television film starring Holly Hunter and Beau Bridges. It's called The Positively True Adventures of the Alleged Texas Cheerleader Murdering Mom. I thought you may want to know that. Goodbye.